Mother Nature's helpful.
Somebody came over
And
and
it's got removable, but it's got the metal in the nose, and it's real loose fitting on the back.
I like the way that
It's
one.
got a coffee filter inside.
Pretty much.
We've got, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And, first order on the agenda is approve the minutes.
Yes.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by CA, second by Jim. All in favor, say aye. The motion carries. And we'll go to the financials.
It was good to have everybody back around the table. Even though I know we still wear a mask, which a lot of people feel more comfortable doing that. And I got some over here in case somebody needed one extra. But of course, next month we'll be back full-time regulatory unless the governor changes his rule again. If we're ready for financials, we'll start with a TVA report. If you go to your second green page, look at the bottom line, item number 98, net income. We had a loss of $166,000 in May, which is not unusual. May of last year was $290,000. It's just cash flow as far as meter reading and time of year and that kind of stuff. We see that quite often. June will probably be a negative number too. Any questions about any line item on page 2?
And that's all maybe is just when they read it, different things like when the meters were read.
That's part of
It
it.
was both years.
Yeah, that's part of it. Of course, we had some big expenses in May that we hadn't budgeted till June. We'll see that. Our insurance, $157,000. And so that had a little play. That was in the May TVA report, isn't it? Okay. But and we'll see in our losses too. We had like 5% losses this time, which is really high. Next month it'll be a negative number. We've seen that several times. Has to do with our reading cycles mostly. If we go to the next page, page 3, we're comparing sales from this May to last May. You can see we dropped 20% in residential sales from May of this year compared to May of last year, and 23% small commercial. And some of that is continued shutdown, the COVID thing, the restaurants and that kind of stuff. The biggest part of that, and again, a lot of this is billing too, the billing cycles. If you look down here and see that kind of loss right there, that's way unexpected. And so I think it's the billing cycles. Hopefully next month that'll be a negative number. The one thing that surprised me, and I guess it didn't, when you look at our degree days, last May we had 289 cooling degree days when you expect the air conditioner to be on. This May, just had 198. We actually had 54 heating degree days versus last year's 10. And you can see right here the average temperature, 69.4 this year, 73.8 last year. That makes a difference in residential small commercial.
It's about the time the AC unit kicks on.
Overall, we were down 12.96% compared to last year, down almost 1% year to date. Our retail sales were down, wholesale purchases down 9.8. Again, because of that big difference, I think a lot of that's the billing cycles. Revenue less power costs, let's skip that. This month we had 241,000 compared to last year 247, about the same. Year to date we're about $200,000 greater revenue less power costs than we were last year to date. Any questions about the TVA financials? If not, we'll go on to the May budget numbers. I did have a write-up of several things that I want to mention, things that looked odd in the budget. Let me go find it. We'll start out looking at the month to date. We had a negative cash flow of $278,000. That's on the first page behind the cover page. We had budgeted $9,000 cash flow, so it's negative quite a bit more. We'll talk about that in just a minute. That's because we had some expenses we paid this month. that were booked in other months. Year to date, we're at 491,000 deposit cash flow. We had budgeted to be at 725, so we're what, $180,000?
891, right?
891, I'm sorry, 891, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor. 891 actual, thought would be 725. So that's $160,000 positive cash flow above budget. I did make some notes on the budget. We talked about the revenue being down because it was cooler weather and we had some COVID losses too. Charge-offs, we show that $42,841 in charge-off for Wallace Computer. You know, that's completely written off. We'll see that on charge-offs sometime as far as the budget goes. And they're paid up to date now. Apart from that, we wrote that off. I think they are. The specialty retailers, goodies, they ended up, they'll probably take us about $160. They have not paid the next bill.
They went bankrupt, I believe.
They did, Chapter 11. Had a couple of them took Chapter 11, Wallace and them. They hadn't paid the next month's bill, we won't cut them off. You know, it was due the 15th, and we'll call them. I have several on the Route 10 that have not paid, that was due the 15th, hadn't paid yet. The railroad crossing, we're not gonna cut that off. But we got some places like that for some reason, they just, and several businesses that have paid late, that never have, just got out of habit. Anyway, we'll talk more about our write-offs here in a little bit. Also, this month we had that retirement benefit of $47,000. We budgeted $25,000, came in at $47,000, and our property and casualty insurance was $152,000 or $153,000. We had budgeted that for June payment. We got in early, but didn't pay it. So that's what drove those two things drove this big difference right here of 277 negative cash flow. They were budgeted in other months. Any questions about the May budget numbers?
Tim, on commercial accounts, how many of them do we not have a deposit on?
I can't answer that, Keith.
A rough percentage, you got to guess.
Probably 50%.
Probably.
Yeah. Everyone we've hooked up since I've been here, we've got a deposit on. I say that, everyone that the large accounts that I deal with, we do. And the girls, the ladies on the desk are really good about getting deposits. I was looking at one today, somebody that showed no deposit, and they was late on the payment. They've been in business 2 years. I thought, how'd that happen? And the side notes, they put a surety bond up. So it don't show on the deposit thing.
Mm-hmm.
She has to look at that.
Is it any way we possibly could go back and get the deposit from everybody?
Our policies state this: if a customer has a bad payment record, develops a bad payment record, and we cut them off twice, the second time they go to cut off, we require a deposit. Also, if they're asking for something special, increase in services, whatever, contracts, deposit.
That's good.
But we made the conscious effort way back when not to go back and get deposits on anybody that was grandfathered in. A lot of our residential accounts don't have deposits.
Well, I was just looking at the amount of money we stand to lose.
Well, we could, we've got, of course, Unilever's our biggest customer, $500,000 a month, $350,000 last year, but they've been up to $500,000, but I've got $1 million deposit on them.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked for that, that guy thought he was going to beat me up. He got so mad at me. But we got it. So all the big customers, I went back and got a $750,000 deposit on Quebecor before they took bankruptcy. Glad we did, because 6 months later they took bankruptcy. We lost $350,000 on that. So we're fairly diligent to get deposits, and anytime somebody changes, we'll adjust deposit. I also return excess deposits. I estimate a lot of things based on a new account, what I think the bill's gonna be based on the heating load and air conditioning, that kind of stuff. And I said it, and I tell the person now in a year's time, after go through a year of heating and cooling, we'll go back and look at this. If it's not enough, I'm gonna ask for more. If it's too much, I'll give some back. And I've given some back when I've overestimated. Now, I don't make a conscious effort after a year to go back and look at all these accounts, but as I see them, as I'm going through things, I pay attention to it. So.
I think I paid a deposit when I moved. I think I had to pay a deposit.
Probably didn't get enough from you, David.
We need one.
Thank you, Dad. We need that.
Okay, any questions about the May budget? Now I ask for a motion to approve the May financials.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Christie, second by CH, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
COVID-19 update, I wrote quite a bit about it, telling you what we had done on the A cycle and B cycle. This was Thursday when I finished this, and I had penny updates and things this morning. Of the 75 A cycle, the 74 residential, 1 commercial account on A cycle, we had 27 come in paid in full after we sent the letters of contracts out
Oh,
to them.
good.
About $3,000. We have 48 that still owe us about $9,700, and only 9 of those have provided contracts. We've got about 200 accounts that weren't part of the ones that were in arrears. They've been paying the bill steady till they went past due on June 15th. So about 200 accounts residential that we're going to cut off Wednesday unless they come in and pay.
Do you send them something or call?
We sent them a second notice.
Okay.
Yes. Business as usual. They hadn't been late at all. Well, they've been late, but they hadn't had contracts. They were current up to June 15th when the bill was due, and they hadn't paid yet. And so a lot of them will come in tomorrow. A lot of them wait till the last day. It gets real busy up there on the last day to pay. Same first, second, third of the month when the government checks come in. It gets real busy. Hopefully we won't have 250 on cutoff Wednesday. If we do, we'll spend all day doing that. But if y'all get some phone calls, I mean, and hopefully you may, I know sometimes people call City Hall.
No, they don't.
That's good. Well, I'll say this, when they do, Justin tells them, call me, and that's the way it should be. But we put something in the newspaper about our plan of attack with a big article on page 2 a couple of weeks ago. They explain our plan of attack in the cities, our reopening and collections. We sent out a blanket letter to all customers on both cycles, whether they owe money or not. Said we hadn't been collecting, we're fixing to start, so if you owe us money in June, be ready to pay it. And then we sent out customized letter to everybody on A and B cycle that actually had arrears. So they've been notified every which way to Sunday. They cannot come in and say, we didn't know. Now they'll say, I never got my
Well,
bill.
they can.
They will, like you say, but you know they got the bill.
We've had tremendous success. I appreciate you all working with us, and Tim helping us get this going, because it's worked really well. We published it and put it out there about when our first cutoff ran, we only had about 82 customers. 82 customers on the first cutoff list, and most of them were first time. Most of them were not in arrears. So between the time we notified folks and the time we cut them off, we had, I think, 132 customers on the list of 4,000 folks. So
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
most people ended up paying their bill and were most appreciative of us not charging the reconnect or the cutoff
That's
fee.
really
You know,
nice.
they-
Good. Well, we charge.
Because I could hear them every day, they'd come to the window and they'd say, no, they'd have to be prepared to pay you the $50. And they said, no, there's no, we waived that. So
That's great.
The March, April, and May bills, to answer your question, Christie, we didn't charge late fees, nor we didn't cut off, so we didn't charge reconnect. And the bills that were due June 15th, that were cut off Wednesday, have late fees assessed to those. Plus, if we cut them off, there'll be a reconnect. And the same for the B cycle bills that'll be due July the 7th. We're gonna cut them off.
and we've seen record numbers of folks that go online and pay their bill during this time.
Good.
Instead of coming in, the office was closed, But the drive-through has stayed busy and still is. We still are
Yeah.
not having the foot traffic in the building that we normally do,
We,
which is good.
It is good.
we haven't seen it, as much as prior. Now Wednesday, we're gonna see it quite
And
a
we
bit.
run cutoff on Thursday, so
Yeah.
we'll.
They don't
celebrate.
run cutoffs the day or before after, the same we do. We should back up a week, let's get our money
Well,
first.
see, our first cutoff, our first meter run is our largest. And so we thought, well, you know, heck, there are only 80-something customers on this larger route. That's a good sign, you know, and most of them were current. They weren't in arrears, so, yeah. Thank you for y'all's working with us on that. It made sense to have a consistent
Yeah,
policy between
Yes,
among all
absolutely.
utilities, you know, that people didn't, because it's too much, you know, to
Yes.
try to remember, okay, well, what is electric doing? What is gas doing?
Well, I put it together and talked to David about it, the methodology of why we did what we did, why we set it at $100 payments, and the practice procedures and letters. He said that should work for us. I'm glad he did.
And we've had a lot of folks sign their agreements to repay, so
That's great.
it's really worked well. Yeah.
Oh.
I couldn't consciously cut somebody's utilities off.
No.
Not during the
You
time.
can't ask someone to stay at home and be clean and cut the utilities off.
No,
I just couldn't
no.
have done that.
Correct.
you know, So,
Not at all.
that's unconscionable.
Our largest residential catalog is right at $1,000 over 3 months. And he gets 9 months to pay it back, $92 a month, whatever. And we had a lot of them that just didn't pay the penalty this time. We won't cut them off for a penalty. They just forgot to put it on there. It'll go on next month's bill. So that's a quick update on where we are with COVID. As far as our employees go, we've not had no sicknesses. We did have one employee she thought her son may have been exposed, had him tested. It took 3 or 4 days to get the test results back, but he was not. And so she stayed quarantined until she got the test results back.
Did she take a test?
She did not. She was only exposed to her son. He came back negative. So
Did she take vacation time?
No, we allow this COVID-19 leave. We talked about 4 months ago. There's a part of that CARES Act that was passed. They get so much family medical leave, so much sick leave, and so forth because of this. So we've got
Unemployment ends in July, I think.
yes, that's $600 a week.
The extra, right.
Good.
Not the, right. the
Let's
extra.
get back to work.
Any questions on COVID updates? If not, we'll go to review the Muni Co-op report. This is something that we look at every year. Meant to do it last month, but I forgot. And I run it against all 154 distributors. It shows how we stack up against the rest of them. And you can see our trend lines here each year. So like in customers, there's 21 LPCs with fewer customers than us. Here's sales. Our sales dropped a little bit from last year. Of course, our revenue dropped a little bit from last year. Wholesale power costs, of course, follow sales, it dropped. Revenue less power costs, we stayed pretty much where we was at. Again, this is comparing all 154. Our percentage of wholesale power costs, remember this is how much we collect $1 from our customer. TVA gets $83.06. The higher that number is, like this $87.98, they're only keeping what 11, 12 cents on the dollar to operate off of. You get this person down here, he's keeping almost 40 cents on the dollar. So either he's got real poor performance as far as his efficiencies, or his retail rates are real high. But there's only 16 utilities that have they give more money back, that operate tighter than we do, put it that way. There's only 16 utilities. And this is a direct reflection over how we stack up in these costs over here too, and our rates. Okay, our average wholesale cost per kilowatt hour stayed the same. We went down as far as residential rates, there's only 14 utilities with lesser residential rates than we have out of 154. We're about middle of the pack with GSA 1. I mean, that's because we get a little higher customer charge. Now, the customer charge we've been adjusting is rolled into these cents per kilowatt hours. It's not just billable kilowatt hours, but total cost. We came down our GSA 2-3 rates. Say we come down, we really didn't. Other people just went up. We haven't lowered the rates. And we've been doing our rate road plan, but in so doing, it's always been revenue neutral to us. So we really hadn't lowered the rates. We just aren't increasing rates like everybody else is. All cost per kilowatt hours across the board, we dropped there. Losses, we went up a little bit. Debt, we're, lowering our debt some. So this is us compared to all 154 distributors. Now I want to look at how we compare to the 23 other co-ops that are our size. There's 23 co-ops here. At one time there were 25, but some of them outgrew that 5,000 member mark, and so we dropped a couple off. So out of 23 co-ops our size, there's only one with more customers than we've got, and it's just 30 more customers. There it is right there. Maybe it's 160 more customers. We have the highest amount of sales. We have the highest amount of revenue. Of course, follows with the highest wholesale power cost. Revenue less power cost is there's two of them that keep more money than we do as far as revenue less power cost. Percent of wholesale power cost, we actually went up a little bit. Last year it had been less than 83%. We actually pay more to TVA or charge less to our customers. We dropped in residential kilowatt hour sales. We dropped from 3 to 2. There's only one utility has, in this size here, 5,000 customers. With lower utility residential, that's New Bern. New Bern has a heavy industrial base, don't they? Yeah. Drove through there yesterday. Do what, Christy?
I would think that New Bern.
They do. They got some big customers too. We reduced 2 in the GSA 1 rates. We gained another factor on the GSA 2s. Overall, there's only 3 utilities with overall composite rates less than ours. And so I thought, part of this is part of that rate roadmap we've been doing for several years. And part of it's the fact that we have not adjusted rates and other utilities have. So their rates are bumping up some. I can't take all the credit. We've done something miraculous to reduce our rates. We've held our efficiencies constant, improving them some. But most of this, other people just raising the rates. So that's how we stack up. It's always good to see these numbers trend down. You can see where we started at. Residential was 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2. Small commercial's been coming down. It's good to see these downward trends here. Not saying it'll continue for us. If we ever do a local rate adjustment that adds more to it.
On our roadmap, we're actually increasing on residential.
We're increasing on all of these, all counts, we're increasing the fixed cost and reducing the kilowatt hour charge of variable cost. The net is 0 difference. Now, that's for the class entirely. Some low-use customers will see a larger percentage increase because we went $4 on kilowatt hour on a customer charge. And so they'll see if their bill just runs 100 kilowatt hours, they'll see that whole $4 mainly, even though we reduced the first 100 kilowatt hour energy charge. So their bill probably went up $3.50. If you take someone like in a not very well insulated home, like we have a lot of the older homes here that people rent, their bills are running 2,000 to 3,000 kilowatt hours, where their monthly costs have gone down because their customer charge went up $4, but the decrease we took in kilowatt hour rate really helped them.
That's why my bill's lower.
It may be. if you're in that 2,000, probably that's around 1,100 kilowatt hours. You use more than that, your monthly bill actually went down.
Yeah.
And it has every year since we started this. And we know we're getting closer to where we need to be with our fixed costs true to representing what they should be. I don't know if we'll ever get there. We've taken the correct approach by not doing it all at once. We're just eating this elephant one bite at a time. We've got no kickback from any customer. And for the most part, our customers are actually seeing smaller bills, especially those who are living in uninsulated homes that have high usage or total electric.
We only have one more year on our roadmap.
Well,
Is that correct?
Well, we could do it as long as you want to. I mean, we set a 5-year plan trying to get to what the actual true cost is, and we're closer every time. But we haven't got there yet.
Quick, on these other co-ops, do they have a roadmap? Are they changing theirs?
Some of them do, because Seth does
That's the
like,
reason we're seeing some change.
yeah. It's some people every year in July, we have to file with TVA or what we call a local rate adjustment. They send to us a calculation that says if you want to go up on a rate, you can go up to this guideline amount. Us is normally $600,000-700,000 a year. We could actually increase rates without justifying it. Well, we don't need to increase rates. A lot of utilities do. And so every distributor, all 154, get this guideline amount, whatever it is TVA calculates. And they can say, I want the guideline, and TVA will go back and mix it however they want to, customer charge, kilowatt hour, demand, whatever. You get to see how you want to mix it. You can choose not to take it like we always do. Because we do make a change in the formula, we still have to do the cost of service study. If we weren't changing our formula, but we need to increase more than the guideline amount, we'd have to do a cost of service to prove why TV says you can have 650 this year, but we need 850. They'll say, prove to me why you need another 200,000. And then you have to do a cost of service for that. So, yeah, it's cost us $15,000-16,000 a year, but it's helping our ratepayers out. You see it up here. It is. And to answer your question, Seth does 19 or 20 distributors, and he's following the same guideline with them. Chris Mitchell, who is another big consultant, he has some type of roadmap he does with his people. Don't know what it is. But, and some people have, they do it in-house, decide how they want to go. So, okay, any other questions about this? Again, you see we're doing better every year. All these rates are coming down compared to others, and we're still standing strong with the highest number of sales and revenue among everybody else. Any questions about that? All right. If not, the next thing on the agenda, Keith called me the day after our last board meeting and said we passed the budget. We've got to do your salary adjustments. We asked that I put it on the budget. It's on here, and so I will pause this as you always ask. Make sure it's paused. We're live again.
Tim, after discussion, we decided that you get a 2% like employees, but it's gonna be a bonus instead of salary.
Okay.
And David told us we needed a motion because we'd approved the minutes. Is that correct?
We'd approved the
We
budget,
approved the budget, excuse me.
and the budget included a 2%.
For everybody.
For
everybody.
So we need to amend the budget.
We move that the budget that was passed for Tim's salary is his regular salary, and the 2% is in the form of a bonus, not the salary increase.
Okay, we
Did I
got,
say it right?
you said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the motion, who wants to second that?
I'll second.
Second by CH, all in favor, say aye.
Let's remember to go back tomorrow and change that in the budget itself. It still sits at 2 now. Okay. Information items. FCA went up just a little bit, 72 cents on 1,000 kilowatt hours. I did look at regions today. Quick recap on 430. Regions investment was at $5,027,000. On 530 it was at $5,235,000. And then today it was at 5,310,000. So it's recovering. The month of May, our investments outperformed the NASDAQ, Dow, S&P, and the Russell. All our categories did. They did a good job. So that's all I have, unless y'all have some more. Any questions to ask or any comments?
Anybody else got anything?
Tim, I'm curious.
Good to be here.
You know, the people that are, I guess you could say targeted, or Mayor, you may know this, have they used the various places to get, you know, I'm saying the church.
The church in Delta, yeah.
First Methodist, I don't know if Liz forwarded that to you or not. Let me, hang on just a minute.
Yeah, she-
Oh, you don't have to, I just thought maybe.
Yeah, I can tell her right
It's
quick.
been fantastic.
Go ahead.
Since its inception, the City of Covington's, well, that's gas, water, sewer, COVID-19 community care funds made 5 financial awards totaling $1,119.61. Remaining balance for disbursements, $88.30.39. But now that's not electric.
No.
I'm sorry.
The electric is this, since 4/1 inception, they made 16 community care payments,
Okay.
$27.86 total dollars, and they made 3 normal roundup payments of $1,018.
And that's probably about right, because we had lesser, I think, customers in distress than you all. So
Right.
that
That's
would
right.
probably equate.
It really
What
is.
about Delta?
Delta says in the last month, the month of May, they paid $11,000 on how many accounts it was. But they typically do that, you know, they either pay $350 or $500 if you qualify. And so they paid $11,000.
That's right.
And I want to say it was 30-something accounts maybe.
Just wanted to know that
That's a good question.
they knew that option was out there and that someone, that way you can't say I didn't know.
Well,
Yeah, there's flyers at City
Yeah.
Hall.
we have given to every person that comes through the drive-through or calls, if they come through the drive-through, a handout. It was in your board packet last month or
Yeah.
month before.
And I understand that, but
That
Tim,
direction.
you know, I work with those that can't read. You can give them
Yeah.
real simple,
I understand.
There.
I understand.
And it,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know.
But most people know, well, they can, even if they can't read, they can go to the First
They can
Methodist
go
Church, or
somewhere,
they can
that's
go
what
to
I'm
Delta or
saying,
something.
if people have utilized it, that means that some kind of way communications have gotten through.
Yeah, and you know they're gonna spread word of
Yeah,
mouth.
that's what I'm
Somebody gets help,
saying,
they're
they'll
gonna be
say,
so
well,
relieved, they're gonna
just go
spread it.
over there, they'll tell you what to do.
And we tell them, they've got a phone number and all that.
And the ladies too, if they know someone
If they
that has
feel like
lost
they
their
know
job or something like that, they've reached out to them too and have said, hey, have you applied to these different places? That type of
There've
thing.
been a
So.
lot of jobs lost because of COVID.
Really?
Well, they may not be working here. They could be, you know,
But I'm
working
saying they
in
live in
Showtime.
here.
How much have
You don't know, we haven't heard of it.
They just,
Huh?
Meaning Covington if we've lost?
No, I meant overall, have you heard of job lost by people living in the city? They may work in Memphis, but then it closed up, they lost their.
I haven't
Never
heard
mind.
Not aware of anybody.
Because I haven't heard of anybody that said they
I tell you
lost
that,
their job.
Because I'm in the medical field, so we work
One
on.
wasn't working for a while.
That's it.
I had to work on still working.
the one shocking thing was our sales tax revenue for April was up 13,
9.2%.
That surprised me.
insane. I was
We're
shocked.
up,
Because
we
you're
had-
not going out, you're going to Walmart,
Yeah.
or you're going to Save a
Now,
Lot.
we took about an $11,000 hit in state share, which we knew we were gonna take a hit in state share. Oh, that, we figured about $100,000 going into next year on state share revenue, but our local option was up 9.2%
You mean-
That shows you how much money goes out of the county every month.
That's
on
where
roads.
you get that shot at home.
That's it.
Well, and not to tell you, they didn't stop spending money.
I'll tell you what,
Ask anybody who works at
That put
Walmart.
us
That's why you got that
Walmart
shop
had
at
checked
home, you know, when you're talking about
That
shop.
put
Has
us,
not
that
checked
put
it.
us at from 2.8 year to date, 3.5.
Yeah.
So even if May's down, we've got a little bit more cushion there.
the majority of your
Hopefully in the year,
revenue,
That's-
majority of your revenue
that's good.
increase came from that new chicken place out there.
Yeah, 'cause they-
You cannot get in there.
I went to
Well,
bed
David
at 2
Gray loves that
o'clock.
gas bill coming from that place.
Exactly.
it looks like about 4 o'clock,
I've never seen
maybe.
that.
Yeah, Stacy uses that
I used to have.
You just pulled it
Okay,
apart.
we adjourn this.
So moved.
Really good Buffalo City.
Yeah, but I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.